To open the 2025-26 regular season, the Brooklyn Nets get dominated on the road, dropping their first regular season contest to the Charlotte Hornets by a score of 136-117. Key takeaways, key analysis, the performance from Brooklyn's top stars, all coming up right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into the show. He's Josh Woolever. I am Connor Long right here with you guys on this Wednesday evening, October 22nd, 2025. Be sure to drop down below, smash that like button, hit subscribe. That is the free way to support us and our growth and our journey to 500 subscribers here on this channel. We want to engage with you guys, want to hear what you guys have to say. So questions, comments, thoughts, throw all of those in the chat. We are going to get to those. Smash the like, hit subscribe. Questions, comments, thoughts, load those up in the chat. Josh, the Nets drop a rough one in Charlotte to open the year. However, I think there are a lot more positives than people think from today's matchup. But ultimately, overall, to sum everything up, a game that Brooklyn could have certainly came out on top in.
Absolutely, and you would have at least liked them to stay a little bit more competitive in that second half down the stretch. A game where not much defense was played on either side of the ball. Obviously, 136-117. So there was definitely a lot of positives to take away from this game for the Nets. Just a sneak peek at that Day'Ron Sharpe played extremely well. You saw, some flashes from the rookies, and overall, this is a Nets team that, Connor, I think we both expect to be right around that 20-win mark. So for them to get blown out in a game where they have no level of regular season continuity yet, the rotations have never fully played with each other. You're talking about people coming back fresh off injuries. So I'm not terribly upset. I'm not terribly surprised that this Nets team, is non-competitive in the second half. But again, there is definitely some good news to take away from this game, but also some learning experiences.
At the end of the day, I'm rooting for wins. I know the Tank Birds are going to talk about the competition already one game in for the number one overall pick and the lottery odds already.
Yep.
I'm a fan who doesn't believe in tanking. I mean, until someone can show me where tanking has resulted in a deep playoff run, where direct and deliberate tanking has resulted in an NBA championship, I am going to be wholeheartedly against the idea of tanking. I'm rooting for wins, and I'm disappointed after what I saw in this Brooklyn Nets squad today because, again, this is a game that was winnable. The Nets were up, 6, 8 points at points in the first half. They had leads in the second quarter. What killed them is the fact that they were down, in double digits entering the break, and they weren't able to come back from that. Jalen Wilson provided a spark off the bench today for Brooklyn, 2 of 4 from downtown, plus 10 rating, 8 points over 15 minutes coming off of Jordi Fernández's bench. So you have that. He gave you a spark plug. But other than that, off the bench, with the exception of Yegor, him being on a minutes limit, he certainly delivered one hell of an NBA debut tonight. Day'Ron Sharpe, who's a starting caliber big man, and then Jalen Wilson. The Nets bench was silent. Nolan Traore hit 1 3. Other than that, we didn't hear much of his name being called. Drake Powell, we only saw him for 7 minutes tonight. A lot of the impact today came primarily from the starting lineup, and there are going to be rotation concerns for this team all season long because the Nets bench was pitch black and quiet the entire game, obviously, with the exception of a guy like Wilson, with the exception of Day'Ron Sharpe, and, of course, Yegor Gielman.
Absolutely. And this coaching staff, Jordi Fernández, will harp to you about how deep this bench is, how much they want to get guys into the rotation, keep things moving, fresh legs on the court. But, Connor, you're right. You look down, and all of a sudden the Nets are in a hole, and you can't turn to anybody that, you're right, is not named Yegor Gielman off the bench and expect to get consistent results, which is just not what this team is looking for. You had, some of those starters. Nick Claxton had back-to-back and ones on possessions, hit both free throws, which was a minor miracle. And so you definitely saw signs from that starting five, but you're right, it is a big concern when you're talking about a team that was going down to the last day to finalize their roster, having uncertainties on the end of the bench, and then to come out like this and get blown out. And it's not just a second half problem. I think overall the Nets could improve in multiple ways. But you're right. I think the bench and the depth and the rotations, there was definitely some interesting calls by Jordi Fernández, who was
Yep.
slightly aware what the minutes distribution looked like. I would have liked to see more of Powell, especially because the Nets had more than a lot of trouble guarding LaMelo Ball. He was getting just about everything he wanted. So I would have liked to see Powell come in earlier for defense, but he committed a couple bad fouls. So overall, man, yeah, you're right. This Nets team, the depth must improve if they want to win games moving forward.
Well said. It wasn't just LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller. Just watching him ball, even Miles
Couple of those
Bridges,
dunks.
so those dunks, watching those guys run in transition
Yes.
made
Yes.
this Brooklyn Nets defense look like an AAU team. And that's frankly not what they are, because like
Yep.
if you're talking about one positive from Jordi Fernández, if you're talking about one positive for this team, like this team is built, I think, to compete more on the defensive end than they are offensively. A physical player like Zaire Williams, Day'Ron Sharpe, one of the best pure and efficient rebounders
Yes.
in the league right now. So the Hornets, however, got whatever they wanted offensively. Watching Brandon Miller, watching Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, those guys run in transition. I just think an underrated concern today for Brooklyn as well is the three-point shooting. They were letting Charlotte chuck up
Yep.
threes at their own will, and Charlotte shot
Yes.
47.2% from downtown on throughout 36 attempts. So they were humming from beyond the arc, just the ball movement from Charlotte as well. They were kicking the ball out. They were moving the ball around the perimeter. Like, that's something Brooklyn can't do. Like, they don't have, I think, a true floor spacer on this team. Like,
Yep.
Cam Thomas is way too ball needy. We saw that
Same
firsthand
with MPJ.
today. Same with MBJ. Same with all these guys. Like, you're hoping that a Ben
Yes.
Surratt, you're hoping that a Yegor Dioman can eventually fit that mold. But as of now, the Nets really don't have a guy who can spread out the offense, facilitate the offense, space the floor, and that certainly hurt the team today, Josh.
Super well said. A key point that I really want to dive deep on is transition defense. And, there was none of it today. There was absolutely none of it. Charlotte outscored the Nets 23-5 in transition. And it's not even the points that get me, it's more of a lack of effort. I don't know if this falls on the coaches or on the players for not hustling back, but there was always a 2-3-on-1, and the Nets were just out of order in all possible ways. So transition defense, boy, that must be a huge emphasis going forward. Jordi
Yep.
Fernandez is gonna have to clean that up. That was brutal, and just as a basketball enjoyer, a couple of those lobs from LaMelo to Miller
Mhm.
were extremely fun to watch, like Showtime on the subway. But in terms of a net standpoint, you would like to imagine that you can limit it. And it's not like they were coming in transition. The Nets got back, and LaMelo Ball hits a 30-footer, stops on a dime, hits a 30-footer. I don't have a problem with that. That's not called bad defense. That's called
Yeah.
a great shot. What I have a problem with is the Nets getting bullied in the paint in the transition, not being able to get back, and then not holding their ground. Talk about the paint. Ryan Kalkbrenner, what an impact he had in his NBA
10 and 11.
debut.
Yeah.
7-1 at a Creighton. He was getting blocks. I think there was 3 possessions in a row where they just fed him inside for an easy layup or an easy dunk. So,
Mhm.
boy, the Nets have to be able to limit guys that are bigger than them at the center spot. And there's a lot of them in this NBA. There's a lot of them in this Eastern Conference. So that's also something to highlight moving forward, is paint presence.
I want to see changes made in the starting lineup for Jordi Fernandez next game in 2 days from now, a game that we will be at the Barclays Center. I
Sir.
want to see Day'Ron Sharpe in the starting lineup, because he showed
Yep.
tonight that he's deserving that 14 minutes, 14 points. He continues to develop that three-point shot, and I think that's such an underrated area of his game. You look at a player like Day'Ron, and you're like, no way this guy can shoot. Year in and year out, he's continued to build upon that. You see the improvements from just a fundamental standpoint, and now his success from beyond the arc is actually being able to, come through in this stat sheet. He took 2 3-point shots today. He made one of them. Like, that's perfectly fine. I want a guy like that chucking up 2 to 3 3-point shots
Yep.
in a contest. So we saw that today. And Terrence Mann, ultimately, he finished out to have a solid game, 2 of 3 from downtown, 13 points, but he had a really, really rough fourth quarter, man, running out of bounds during the first quarter, his toe hitting that sideline, kind of looking lost in the offensive system, and that's something you do expect out of a new player. But I want to see the starting lineup kind of messed around with on Friday night. I want to see Day'Ron at the 4. I think you're able to flex MPJ to the 3 because we talk about all the time, MPJ is a power forward, MPJ is this, MPJ is that. By the way, an awful game today for Michael Porter Jr. 2 of 7 from beyond the arc. Got off to a strong start, but really tailed off. 5 of 15 from inside the field, 5 assists, 4 boards, a minus 19 rating, 12 points, the final line for Porter Jr. You're able to play him in that 3 role because he's not a true power forward. Like, he could be a bigger 3 who can shoot for you. That's the role, I think, for Michael Porter Jr. on this team. And if that allows you to place Day'Ron Sharpe in the starting lineup, that's exactly what you need to do if you're Jordi Fernández, because I want to see Day'Ron and Claxton get some run. We spoke so much over the years of Noah Clowney and Nick Claxton. Like, Noah Clowney, man, he's going to need to show something some point soon. I get it's game 1. I don't want to overreact, but he showed me a lot of just meh tonight, like looked like a very replaceable player. Didn't look like a first-round pick from just a couple years ago. I want to see the 4-5 tandem, Day'Ron Sharpe and Nick Claxton.
Yeah, Day'Ron Sharpe's earned his way into the starting lineup. There's no question about it, Connor. You mentioned it, whether it was on the offensive side, the defensive side. I really liked his all-around game. To me, he was the brightest spot for this Nets team today. You talk about a guy who signed the contract and has committed to stay in Brooklyn, knowing what it's going to be like. Day'Ron Sharpe has been here his whole career. He knows what Brooklyn's all about at this stage in the franchise, decides to stay here and commit to it. And for that, I truly respect him. And he comes out and he plays great. He's probably the best net today. We talked about the bench, coming off the bench. Him and Giomin is another guy you'd probably like to see flexed in for Saraf if healthy, obviously on the minutes restriction tonight, and there's no need at all. Please do not force him back early. There is just no need at all. So take your time with Giomin. I understand, but when ready, Yegor Giomin is going to be the starting point guard on this team. And I think you're right, Connor. I think that Michael Porter Jr. had a bad game today, but what I really want to mention out of what you said was your comments on Noah Clowney. And I think I'm going to have to stop you in your tracks because Noah Clowney, to me, is a guy that's not just going to get rolling on game 1. He is someone who is going to have to fit in, find chemistry with his teammates. He's someone who is, of sorts an outlier on any NBA roster. He doesn't really play a position. Let me just put it out there. I don't really know how to describe what Noah Clowney does on an offensive team. And so for that, I think he needs to settle in, get used to his system. He's playing with 3-4 new guys around him on any given series. So I think it will take time for him to settle down. I agree this is a concerning performance. I'm not just going to bat a blind eye to his, 1 for 6 from the field today. That's not good. 1 for 3 from deep. So he's got to be better. He had a couple good possessions on the defensive end of the ball, which is encouraging. Noah Clowney, I'm not going to jump ship yet, and let's just wait for him to get the ball rolling.
Certainly a fair assessment, but when you talk about balancing rotational minutes, he shouldn't be playing 20 minutes a night if he's playing like this. And someone who shouldn't be out there half as long
here we
as
go.
he is
Tyrese Martin.
Right there.
All right.
26 minutes.
What a joke.
26 minutes for Tyrese Martin tonight.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yes.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And it's not even like it was the it's not even like it was the Suns game where he was the second coming of Jesus in his Nets debut and he looked incredible. And he
2 of 8 from the field. Please.
2 of 8 from the field. This guy should not be on an NBA court for longer than 5 minutes a night. This guy is not an NBA caliber player. Yeah. He shouldn't be on the roster.
No.
Let alone playing 26 minutes a night for you on a team that has 5 rookies.
No, please. I mean, Tyrese Martin, the second he checked into the game, I was like, first of all, we can't guard LaMelo Ball. Can we get Drake Powell in for defense? And then he starts shot chucking like he's, Cam Thomas out here. It's like, dude, know your role. And the fact that even after that, after what an abysmal start he had, that Jordi Fernández ends up leaving him in. He plays more minutes than all the starters. He literally played the most minutes for this team.
Tied with
It makes
MPJ. Ridiculous.
no sense. Jordi Fernández, you got to make a change there. 1 for 5 from 3. And, all I hear is people talking my ear off about how great of a 3-point shooter he is. Oh, really? Well, can he show it? Because tonight he didn't. What an embarrassing performance from him. And a guy who the Nets organization would love to tell you earned his way onto this roster and had a great summer, blah, 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 blah. My goodness, that was terrible.
Absolutely terrible. Absolutely ridiculous. He's shaping up to be this year's Keon Johnson. Keon Johnson's not on the roster. We got him off the team.
I might go a step lower. We might go Tosan and Woma level if this continues.
No, I'm just talking about in the way that Jordi plays him like 25, 30
Yes.
minutes a night,
No,
no matter how bad the performance is. Like,
yeah.
Tonight was like, there's no way to justify that. No way. 2 of 8 in the field. What he gives you nothing defensively. He's very replaceable as a ball handler. 3 turnovers. You could point to maybe the 5 assists and 2 steals. Like, okay. But if you're out there and playing 26 minutes a night as your team's primary ball handler, you need to put up double figures in that amount of minutes. Like, no excuses whatsoever. I mean, Day'Ron Sharpe put up 14 points in almost half as many minutes as Tyrese Martin did.
Half as many.
And Day'Ron
Sharpe,
less
shot attempts.
Power forward / center. Exactly. A lot less shot attempts as well. Way more efficient. 6 of 7 from the field. 1 of 2 from downtown. 1 of 2 at the charity stripe. Like, go ahead.
And the plus minus just shows where they value these guys in the rotation. How is Day'Ron Sharpe going to mail that? Tyrese Martin's going to mail that in for you. And you look at the plus minus and you're like, okay, great. The rotation was fine when he was on the court. And then you look up at Day'Ron Sharpe and who is he surrounded by? Like, that's the most misleading part of the plus minus ratings. Like, they're great when you're evaluating like roster bubble players, but when you talk about in games like this where you don't know who a player is on the floor with, they can be very, very, very misleading because Day'Ron Sharpe had a very, very, very good game tonight. And like, you look at the plus minus rating and you thought he'd be unplayable. So that's the issue, I think, with plus minuses. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to see more to Zaire Williams, though, man. Like, he was terrible. He was the worst player on this Nets team tonight. Like, there's
you think
no
the injury
way.
Lingered? Like, he was down they had to go to commercial break.
Look, the injury could have certainly hindered him throughout the game, but like even before the injury, he just looked lost out there, man. Like, he did not look like an NBA player. And we spoke about all this offseason. The biggest thing with Zaire, consistency, and being able to stay consistent. Like, he was the worst player on the floor. You look at every single player who saw minutes tonight for Brooklyn, he was the worst one out there. He got paid 2-year deal this offseason. Again, game 1, but time to buckle up, Zaire.
Yeah, there's got to be a better performance from him. And it's not like you're talking about somebody coming here playing their first game on the Nets. This is someone who earned his stripes with the coaching staff last year and for good reason. So you got to hope this is a fluke. You got to hope something related to the injury that he's able to work through these next coming days. But you're right, Connor. If this is the guy you just extended to be your role player the next 2-3 seasons, we're going to have to turn the ship around if Zaire Williams wants to see the floor. But someone who we haven't talked about yet, Connor, and I do want to shift the focus to a little bit, has been Ben Suraf, because the shooting splits would tell you that he played awful, but everything else, man, he showed some positive signs.
1,000%. I think Suraf played a great game. He was facilitating the offense. Again, the biggest thing for him is just finishing. Like, he has that crossover. He has that extra step on defenders. He just needs to finish at the cup. Like, he doesn't, I don't think, have like the lightning speed that Nolan Traore has, but I think he has like the finesse that is needed to be so successful off his dribble and just that power off the one step. Like, he just needs to develop a shot. That's the biggest thing. He needs to develop a shot because he's able to develop a shot, at the NBA level.
Yeah.
Not only does that, highly increase his chance of being more efficient down near the dish, but also allows him to take more chances on those pull-ups. Like, you see him getting open right near the free throw line on baseline jumpers, and he's afraid to put it up because he doesn't feel confident in the shot. So ultimately, I'm very pleased with the performance. I saw him 8.7 rebounds, 4 assists, and then of course 2 of 7 from the field is the grim line there.
Yep.
And he started tonight to my surprise. I thought he played very well. I thought he exceeded the expectations that I had set for him tonight. So great performance out of Ben Saraf and Yegor Tillman, man, off the bench. He's looking like that number 8 overall pick. He's looking like a Sean
Yep.
Marks lottery pick because he played damn well tonight. I'm gonna try to get the line pulled up.
Yeah.
We'll go over to the stat
Four of
sheet
four
right
of
there.
6, all from 3. But
Yeah, exactly.
and it's funny what catches your eye, Connor. Ben Saraf, Yegor Gilman, the 2 leading rebounders for this team. So how about that? How about your small guys getting in there, being scrappy, helping
Mhm.
out on the boards? And that's something that noticeably caught my eye. Just when I was watching the game, it was constantly Ben Saraf hustling, finishing the entire defensive series, not just jogging up the court, waiting to get set in the half court, getting back, helping his guy, catching loose deflections on rebounds. Yegor, same thing, in on a minutes restriction. So maybe you don't want him to be as physical, but I really like that the guards are contributing on both ends of the floor. And I think that's an emphasis that this coaching staff has put.
100%. And I think when you talk about the defense, man, like if this holds through like the first couple weeks of the year, there's gonna need to be like a conversation about Jordi Fernandez. And I'm obviously not saying fire the guy, but what is he doing? Like that's what we need to sit and realize. I get it, this roster is barren of talent, but you can't be allowing 135 points a game
Yeah.
with a defensive minded head coach, a coach who has coordinated defenses at the NBA level, and that is what ultimately got him an NBA opportunity. Like you can't play like that, and it only adds insult to injury when you have a defensive-minded head coach. So I think there needs to be more accountability on Jordi Fernandez as well, because he certainly wasn't perfect when it comes to coaching, and you see there the rotational minutes that he dished out.
100%. I think there were definitely some bad decisions from Coach Jordy, but I also think that as much as this is a learning, curve for some of these rookies, it's a learning curve for a second-year head coach with a roster that got flipped upside down on its head. And there was so many moves, so much uncertainty in this offseason. So I'm not going to come in here, put the blame on him one game into an 82-game year. But Connor, when we're there against Friday, I mean, don't hold your breath for this Nets team going against one of the most high-powered offenses in the league against Cleveland. Let's
And
see.
they're going to be hungry because they just lost to the Knicks tonight, so they are going to be
Yep.
hungry.
So let's see if the Nets can hold their own against what's going to be probably the 1-2 seed in the East come Friday. So that should be extremely interesting.
We saw firsthand tonight as to why the Brooklyn Nets are one of the worst teams in the NBA. Like they just don't have it. They just don't
Yeah.
have it. They don't
And,
have that it factor. And at the end of the day, it comes down to talent. But still, like last year, they just had that punch to open the year. They were shooting at will. Their defense was firing on all cylinders. This year, I mean, you just got blown out of the water against the Charlotte Hornets team that, let's call it spade for spade. They have talent. They have Brandon Miller. They have
yeah.
LaMelo Ball. But this isn't a
Colin
top
Sexton.
Colin Sexton as well. This isn't a top 8 team in the East,
No.
if you ask me. When you look at them
No.
and what they've been able to put on tape over these past few years, they're not a top 8 team. They're a back end of the play-in, kind of middle of the pack East type team. Like this is not a juggernaut of a basketball team, and it was not fun tonight watching this team lose in the fashion of which that they did. And again, you have a tough matchup against Charlotte. And the Brooklyn Nets schedule is one of the more difficult schedules to open the
Yeah.
year. You got Cleveland on Friday. You have the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday, a
Yeah.
Spurs team that I think is just going to dominate the Nets
Dominate.
down low.
I mean, can you imagine Day'Ron Sharpe against Wemby? Just
Yeah.
pack it up, man.
And then you got the Rockets on Monday night. You got the Hawks Wednesday. Like
Just took the champs to double OT.
exactly. I think when you look at the Nets
Yeah.
schedule, like they don't get a win soon. That Hawks game is like your only
Yeah.
opportunity before you face
It's a 1-9
Indiana.
start. It's a 1-9 start.
Like that, it could be a very bad start.
Yeah.
It really could. And I honestly think it's better for your team to, especially when you talk about a young team. I think you'd rather get off to like a 1-9 start and finish the year 9-1 than get
Yeah.
off to a 9-1 start and finish the year 1-9. I say that because this is a team continuing to build and put down those foundational building blocks year in and year out, and you always want to end your season on a high note. So I'll say that.
Yeah, I think a lot of stuff to take away from what you just said. I think you're right. Like, You went too much early, you abandoned the rebuild, which is what they did last year. And not really abandon was not the right word there, but sort of stray away from the wins, and the mindset shifts come the All-Star break. But what were we talking about before? I had a point I wanted to get to, but I lost my train of thought.
Yegor, minutes distribution, Jordi.
Yeah, something along those lines. I lost it. It may or may not come back to me.
Smash that like button, hit subscribe. Josh
Yes,
Woolever,
sir.
Connor Long, right here with you guys on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Questions, comments, thoughts, load all of those up in the chat. We are gonna get to those. So load everything you got, everything on your mind after tonight's loss. Any questions that you have for us, get all of those in the chat. 190 you guys watching us live. We appreciate the support as always. 11 subs away from 500 on YouTube. So if you can, drop over to YouTube. You haven't already, hit subscribe. The Brooklyn Boys Show. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your support as always here on the channel. Delante says, let's go. How about them Rooks? We got Net fans excited already after tonight, Josh. I don't know how you could be excited. He says the most ethical tank you've ever seen. 10 wins. Question mark.
I mean, if they play like that, you could be talking about less. But them Rooks, Delante, to answer your question, they played all right. And you saw some positive signs. Get more minutes from Yegor at some point when he's trending closer to that 30 minute a night mark rather than hovering around 20, which is where he's capped at right now. But some positive signs you need. We were talking about it factor earlier, Connor. Is it factor developable? Because if it is, Nolan Traore kind of needs it. Like, he has a ton of raw talent. Let's just see if he can perform and he can knock down shots when he needs to. Tonight, obviously, you're not putting so much stake into game number one, but Nolan Traore, again, raw skills are on display. That's what you want to see out of the 19th overall pick. Someone who is 19 years old and you're able to develop. I got no problem with a guy with raw skills who's not NBA ready yet. But again, if you're not developable, you do nothing for a team.
Certainly, well said there, 1000%. Let's see, where are we here in the chat? Jason says that was terrible except for Dioman. He was the only bright spot. I mean, there were a few guys, Dioman, Sarath, Sharp. At the end of the day, though, like, I wanted to see more from Drake Powell, man. I wanted to see him out on the floor more. I wanted to see more from Yegor. I want to see him in the starting lineup. Obviously, they're trying to take it slowly with the injury there. But I just want to see more out of the young core as a whole. And I want to see this team piece everything together because we're evaluating all these players on an individual scale. I want to see all these guys on the floor together and contribute to winning basketball.
Yeah, that's going to be tough when you're talking about the rookies because, how much can you really blend those mixes together? Fair. You're looking at probably a max of 3 on the court at a time. Obviously, unfortunate that Danny Wolf gets injured during shoot-around with an ankle. Hopefully, he's back Friday, able to make his NBA debut as quick as possible, get to see, some of what he's about. But you're right, Connor, the more we get to see this unit be cohesive together as one, and it's almost like you got 5 guys all playing for their own rather than 5 guys playing on the Brooklyn Nets right now.
Absolutely well said right there by you, Josh. Jonathan says Connor and Josh, buckle up as we go back to 2016 vibes, with the only difference being we have 5 rookies from the draft and a crucial 2026 lottery pick. This could be a long season.
Yeah, well, I mean, this takes me back to what I was going to say. Like, and now I finally remembered from a little while ago. Remember, Connor, I don't know where you were, 2017, 2018, the Nets bench, just the vibes, just the point blank period vibes on this team. And I think that's what this team needs to develop right now. You have 5 rookies who are all scared. They're all nervous. I get it. First NBA games, first couple games, but this team needs to develop an identity. And I believe that this coaching staff will assist them in getting there, but you don't win NBA games without an identity. This Brooklyn team needs to develop an identity. And as cringy as it sounds, come up with a damn 3-point celebration. Get excited when your guy makes a big play. The bench tonight, completely dead. I think Tyson Etienne led the team in claps today, which, not good.
And he's a two-way player.
Yeah, so let's get excited for each other. Danny Wolf, your ankle's good enough, so you could get up to a little 3-point celebration. Let's get some chemistry, some organization on this team. And as useless as it may sound to you guys at home, it truly can bring a team together and, make them into a team again rather than just individual players.
No, we talked about Noah Clowney needing to be physical tonight. He was not physical and couldn't execute some of the shot attempts and was just not impactful enough. Again, like Josh mentioned, we're going to give him some time, but again, not promising to start the year off.
Yep, well said.
John, Cam either looks checked out or he doesn't know how to balance scoring and playing together, and defensively he's not trying. Getting value for Cam might not be impossible. He's never been a good defender at the end of the day, though. Like, he has never been a competent defender, and there were some egregious flops tonight that he got foul calls on, but I was just like shaking
on that three where he just goes, he hits his classic, he puts it up and then he like flails the arms 3 times.
Yeah, he's like, he's a very good player. There's no doubt. Like, he's very talented.
He knows how to get a whistle.
He knows how to get a whistle. I don't see him being the leading scorer on this team. Like, I really, really don't. I think MPJ is.
Yeah, I mean, I got 3 words for this comment. Has he ever? Has he ever looked like he's trying defensively? Has he ever tried to blend playmaking? That's never been his thing. So, in a contract year where his NBA career and his NBA next contract lies on how he plays this year, I don't think he's just going to try and divert off and do what's best for the team. So my 3 words to that is, has he ever?
Jovan, we need a shooting big. I think you have that in Day'Ron Sharpe, and they're not trading for another big, so I think that's your only hope right now.
Yeah, I don't think you're adding many pieces, whether it's deadline, whether it's, obviously the offseason's gone, but shooting bigs are the future of the NBA. And, for this Nets team to be behind in almost every category, everywhere you look, this is not a good roster. There's talent here, but, Cam Thomas doesn't qualify as your shooting big, obviously. So this is just a team where if Nick Claxton's your starting center, let's just be real. You're not going to be shooting big oriented. That's impossible.
A couple more before we wrap. Jovan again, is Tillman a playmaker or a shooter? LOL, we got catfish. He's both. That's what you want.
I mean, yeah, let's see him continue. I think we know that the passing can be there. Let's see him develop that 3. I think it's extraordinarily interesting to see him continue to just shoot 3s. 4 of 6, all from 3 today. Again, did not take a shot inside of 2. So, he's developing his own identity. Great for him. So if he can shoot 4 of 6 from 3 every night and, add 6 assists alongside that, by all means, be my guest.
Rashad, we'll wrap with this one. With Cam around, it's going to continuously worse. They playing with his money and they playing with his mind. Give him a break. I get it. He wants to get paid. He wants a long-term extension. But at the end of the day, if he wants to get paid, he has to play well this year, and he has to stay healthy for 82 games. Cam Thomas has no power in this situation. No team wanted to pay him this offseason. Jake Fisher, the People's Insider, said it right here on this very show. There was no interest from him around the league, and he's kind of controlling his own destiny right now, and it's not on his side, and Brooklyn has all the leverage here.
Yeah, I don't think Cam Thomas wants himself to get a break. Like you said it yourself. Cam Thomas's career relies on what he does here. It's literally what it hinges on. Sure, you can go pull the archives on whatever logo 3 he hit to send the Knicks home at MSG and hush the crowd, but at the end of the day, what are NBA teams looking at? He played 20 games last year. It is do or die for Cam Thomas's NBA career this year. He's got to go full throttle. So expect that to play a interesting role in this season. The Nets have bought in to the fact that they want Cam Thomas to play as well as he can, despite, some Nets fans are like, oh, don't play him at all. He screwed us. Let's screw him right back. But that's not where the Nets' mindset is. They believe he gives them a chance to win games on a nightly basis. So they're going to play him. Let's see how it works out.
Well said there. Thank you all for joining us. Smash the like button, hit subscribe.
Yes.
Josh Woolever, Connor Long, right here on the show. We will be back. CJ Holmes joining me on the show tomorrow, 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So stay tuned for that, folks. New York Daily News. Nets beat reporter more on this game, a preview of Friday night's game. Stay tuned, folks. Again, smash the like, hit subscribe. Completely free. Helps us grow significantly. Josh, any final thoughts you want to share with the crowd right here before we wrap things up?
A little bit disappointed in this game, but at the end of the day, what's this Nets season about? Not going to be much of the winning aspect. Let's hit it on Friday, Connor. have a great interview with CJ. Should be a fun watch for me. Rest of the listeners, if you haven't done so yet, hit subscribe. YouTube tells us half of you guys aren't subs, so we'd be at that 1,000 mark if you guys just hit that sub. Completely free. We're so close to 500. Get that monetization sticker under our names. Connor, you're the best. Always great to chop it up. Talk some Nets, and it's a disappointing night one, but we shall move on.
Likewise, Josh. Thank you. As always, super fun doing this with you. Thank you all for joining us right here on this Wednesday evening. For Josh Woolever, I'm Connor Long saying, have a great rest of your evening, everyone. And as always, go Nets, baby. Peace out, folks. We'll see you tomorrow, baby. Let's